My name is Garrett. Welcome to Moab 240.
There you go.
You gotta put that on. Welcome to the Moab 240. This is our 4th year and our biggest race. And we're super excited to have you guys. Sorry we can't do this in person. We thought it would be better to record the film and have you watch it online at your leisure. So one thing that we like to talk about is the race is a tribute to Stephen Jones, who died in an avalanche several years ago. He had sent me this route and had really told me that this is one of the best places in the world to do a 200 miler. I didn't really believe him until I looked at the course and came out here again, actually after his death. And once I saw the course, I fell in love with the area. So I think you guys will as well. And we've created a scholarship for students at Utah State University each year as well. So thank you, those of you who donated to that. We're going to try to keep this as brief as possible. One really important thing that we'd like to talk about is your spot tracker. The spot trackers are going to be placed on your pack. It should be up here on the shoulder area, either in the front or the back, ideally, because if you have your spot tracker buried, it's not going to be able to get reception to the satellites. So if you have it in the bottom of your pack down here, you may not be transmitting a signal to the live tracking map, in which case if something goes wrong, we won't know where you are. So make sure you place that spot tracker somewhere up here. The opening on the Velcro pouch that it's in will face down against your body, and the spot symbol will face up. So it's etched in the spot device, but you won't need to take it out of the Velcro pouch when we give it to you. Also, really important to note that in the morning of the race, we turn all those spot devices on. We make sure that they are transmitting to the satellite before we give it to you, so we don't want you to touch any buttons, no buttons. You may think that your spot device is off, but that's just because the blinky light will stop blinking just to save battery after a certain amount of time. So keep in mind, you're not gonna touch a single button on that spot device, and we're gonna give them to you in the morning as well. Another important thing to note is weather. The weather out here in Moab, it varies drastically. So you could have hot 90 degrees, but you could also have 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So you could go from blazing hot in the day to freezing cold at night. And that's why we have our mandatory gear. That's why it's important to always have warm clothing with you. And the weather forecast for this race is going to start a little hotter Friday and Saturday. The temperature is going to drop Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, quite a significant amount. So you're going to be hitting the LaSalle Mountains right as those temperatures are dropping, even possibly Shea Mountain in the Abajos. So make sure you have all of your mandatory gear and plenty of cold weather gear. Pacers also need to carry that mandatory gear as well. So be sure to look at that mandatory gear list. We will be checking it periodically throughout the race, so make sure you always have it with you. I would like to also mention that crew are not allowed to meet you at no crew aid stations. The only situation where that would be okay is if your runner was dropping and you were going to pick them up, or there was some kind of emergency. Your crew may not meet you between aid stations as well. So the rule is the crew may meet you at crew-only aid stations, either within the aid station boundary or parking near it. So because of COVID this year, we're gonna try to sort of spread out the parking and the crewing. So it'll be fine to be outside that aid station with your crew, but you do have to check in to the aid station, let them know that you're here. Even if you aren't going to take anything from the aid station. So just make sure that your crew isn't meeting you on the road 2 miles before the aid station though. So it is important that you follow those rules. Your pacer shouldn't be carrying anything for you. You need to carry everything for yourself. The only situation that it would be okay to take something from the pacer would be if you had an emergency. So make sure you look at those rules in the runner's manual and you understand them so that we don't have to disqualify anybody. You're also responsible for your crew when they're traveling in the area and they're going from aid station to aid station, so they should be driving slowly, they should be courteous and kind to the volunteers and the staff, and following all the rules. They should have read the runner's manual, we'll expect that from you. And also follow our COVID protocol, which you can find on the website under COVID guidelines. I'm just going to go over briefly, but in short, it's pretty much what a lot of us have been following in our own states, which is masks indoors 100% of the time, and then you need to wear a mask inside the aid station if you're crew or a runner, and if you're outside the aid station you can be mask free, but you need to make sure you keep that 6-foot distance between you and other people. So if you're on the trail passing another runner, just pull that mask up over your nose and under your chin and make sure that you're protecting the rest of the race, or another trail user, make sure you do that. So you're going to want to have a mask with you at all times. We do have disposable masks available at the aid station if you lose yours or you need one. But please have your crew bring their own, because we have enough volunteers and runners, but we can't be supplying all the crew as well. So those are the main rules, but be sure to read all the COVID guidelines on the website, because there are more details that you really need to follow. Alright, and I'd like to thank our sponsors, Ultra Running, Silver Star Nutrition, who's running an aid station as well, Spring Energy, Squirrel's Nut Butter, who's supplying you all with plenty of Squirrel's Nut Butter for the run, and Kogala Lights. Alright, next up.
Good morning, runners. My name is Crystal Sager, and I am your volunteer coordinator as well as one of your race directors. And I want to talk with you a little about what we will be offering for food at aid stations. And to begin with, I'd like to thank all our volunteers. We have a massive amount of people that will be out on course. They will be feeding you, they'll be giving you a pep talk, they'll be giving you love, getting you back on your feet, sending you back out. And just be kind, make sure you thank them. Many of these people are here for 5 days, some of them are here for 10 days. They've taken time off work, time away from their family to come out here and support you guys on this adventure. So please give them your love in return for theirs. And then our headquarter team and the key people that have come together to set the race up and course mark. Many of them have been out here for 2, they'll be here for 3 weeks. So again, it takes a ton of people. Just make sure you thank them when you see them out there. For food, we have a ton of food. You won't go hungry. We've got vegan and vegetarian options, as well as all aid stations will have burgers and vegan burgers. We'll have alternating aid stations that have hot dogs and vegan dogs, as well as burritos. The first 2 aid stations are going to be grab and go kind of style type items, so you won't be spending a lot of time there. You're going to grab what you need and mosey on down the trail. And all the other aid stations will also have, in addition to the main items, they'll have soups, fruit, pancakes, hash browns, eggs, all that type of stuff. So there's plenty of food to eat. We'll have water as well as Silver Star Nutrition for hydration, along with hot drinks and juice. Let's see what else do I have for you. I want to talk a little bit about masks. I'm wearing mine here. When you're in the aid station, we'd like you to either have a mask up over your nose and over your mouth, or you all have received these nice buffs in your drop bag. Pull them up, wear them on course, not just for COVID related, but the dust. It's going to help immensely with that. So make sure you put this on at the start of the race and just wear it, or whatever other buff of your choice. And then I also have one thing I want to mention about crew that's really, really important, is that you guys are parking on one side of the street. You aren't parking on both sides of the street. You aren't driving off of the road and parking on the native plants. So make sure that you remind your crew that if we want to continue to have crew, you need to follow those guidelines and make sure you're parking appropriately. I think that's it. I would like to ask if you have questions, but it's kind of a strange year.
Hello and welcome to the Moab 240 course briefing. Before bringing Candace up, I wanted to tell a few pizza jokes, but she thought they were a little too cheesy, so we'll just bring her right on up. My name is Garrett. I'm going to go over some of the course marking details with you all. First things first, let's get to what the actual course markings look like. On the course, you'll see these reflective arrows at intersections, as well as the confidence markers. They come in two different colors. There's the orange and pink, as well as the pink and blue, and they are all highly reflective for at night with your headlamps. And other intersections may also have a wrong way, which looks like this. The way the course is marked, all of the intersections will have arrows at them. If it's more of an unnatural turn, off of, like a sharp turn or off of a main road, there will also be a wrong way to help you out there. All of the intersections will also have a couple of dragons immediately after the intersection so that you do know that you're heading the right way. We ask that you be very careful at all of the highway crossings. There's a few sections where you're going to be crossing some major roads and some minor roads, as well as running alongside of them. So just always be aware of traffic, especially at night, because it can be hard to see the runners. A couple other things to look out for out there is there's some areas of slick rock which can be hard to follow as they just kind of look wide open. Some of these sections will actually have white lines painted on the slick rock, and those generally will follow our course, so you can follow those until you see another dragon where there will be, where we have somewhere we can place them on some shrubbery or trees. If you don't see a marker for maybe a mile or so, what you're going to want to do is first pull out your GPS to check and confirm that you are on course. If for some reason you are unable to look on your GPS, you're going to want to backtrack to where you saw your last marker and then check your surroundings and see if maybe you missed a trail or a turn, and confirm that you are on the right path again. A few things that can affect our course markers is a lot of this course is on an open range with cows, and the cows do like to chew on the ribbons, and sometimes all that will be left is a clothespin. Again, the GPS is extremely important due to the cows out there. The cows also, with the open range, there's a lot of gates on course. If you come across a gate and it's closed, we just ask that you close it again behind you. If the gate was open, just feel free to leave it open as you pass through. And so again, just to reiterate, some of the trickier sections are the slick rock, and the main area you'll run into this is going to be on the second section of the course, which is from Hidden Valley to Moab, and it will be daylight, so that will definitely help you in navigating across some of those slick rock sections. There are also a number of washes along the course, which can be confusing because they do look like trails or roadways. Whenever you come to these washes, we'll actually have a marker at the exit of the wash, so you're looking for that to see where you're actually going to want to head as you cross them. Also, when turning off of roads, it can sometimes be easy to miss the signs. So if it is a wider road or a wider wash that you're traveling down, we tend to put two arrows, one on each side, so it's a little easier to see, as well as there should be a wrong way to make sure that you are staying on course. The faintest trails of the section are basically from Pole Canyon to Geyser Pass in about the first 10 miles or so. We did mark this really heavy with ribbons, but again, this is an area where there tend to be a lot of cows out there that do like to snack on the dragons. So again, this is a good reason why we have the GPS track that you're going to want to be able to follow. But we did go really heavy through there, and it shouldn't really be an issue. A couple other tricky sections to look out for on the course. Not that it's necessarily tricky, but we do have a new private trail out of the base camp aid station. When you leave the aid station, it's going to start out just going up a sandy hill for about 150 yards before it meets up with a road. Once you get to this road, you'll be making a right, and again, all of this is signed and marked very well, and the GPS has been updated to follow this new route. Once you get on that road, it's about 1.5 miles of new trail that does go right across the rim of the Colorado River with some nice views there before you meet back up to where the course previously was. Also, our Indian Creek aid station has moved 1 mile closer than the previous Indian Creek aid station. So there'll be a point where you're coming down and it's a short out and back to the aid station now. I believe it's just over 1/10 of a mile. So as you're doing that out and back, you'll first come past the crew parking area, and there will be another arrow telling you to continue another minute or two, and then you'll come to the aid station. When you leave the aid station, again, it's like a little out and back, so you'll just retrace your steps that 1/10 of a mile and hop back on course. And again, all of this is fully signed. We did write the names on each arrow of which way you're going. So it'll direct you if you're going into Indian Creek or if you're heading out towards Wind Whistle.
The island.
The island. It is all labeled on the arrows to prevent any confusion. Another tricky spot is when you're leaving the Bridger Jack aid station, you'll head down the road for about 1/10 of a mile, make a left onto the gravel, and just about 0.9 miles after turning onto the gravel, there's a sharp right-hand turn off of the road that looks like it's very improbable. It looks like you're going to be heading just down the edge of a cliff, but the trail is there. We put 2 arrows and the wrong way to make sure you see it, but it is something to be heads up for, because even when we know that that turn is there, it's hard for us to find sometimes. And I believe that is all of our course notes. Again, just keep your eyes out for dragons, check your GPS whenever you have any doubts, and we'll see you at the finish.
Hello, I'm Brian. I'm the medical director for the race. Myself, along with Julie, are overseeing an incredible bunch of medical volunteers this year. Practically all of them are runners, so if you're having an issue, bring it up to them. They probably all experienced it or seen it before, so don't hesitate. Problems. If you're having a problem with the race, don't leave an aid station until you've got it addressed. If you can't pee, you can't breathe, or you got blisters, it's not going to get better running down the course. So just wait there, ask the medical people for some help, and they'll help get figured out. Hallucinations are pretty funny and something we talked about, but they can also be dangerous. So if you're seeing a bridge over a canyon or you think someone's chasing you, it's time to get some sleep. 45 minutes of even just shutting your eyes are going to reset your brain, and you're going to have a much better race, much better chance of getting a buckle at the end. Asthma and hydration, a very dusty course. If you are an asthmatic, make sure you've got tons of extra inhalers, albuterol, whatever you use, and stay well hydrated to keep everything flowing as best it can from top to bottom so that nothing's getting gunked up in your lungs. Lastly, in the immortal words of Helgi, if you feel like you need to drop, make sure you get some sleep and you get some food, and then make that decision. Don't make it rash until you've had time to let things kind of reset. Maybe not feel quite so picked on once you woke up and are well fed. That's it. Look forward to seeing you and your feet at the race. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask us before or after during the race. Thank you.